All around you, anywhere you look, a hint of magic, filling pages of every book that tells stories of a holiday season. With songs choirs sing through the air, a special reason, with hope and love felt everywhere. This is what it's all about. The angels will sing and shout. The time comes once a year. Festive feelings overtake you and bring you closer to those you hold dear. Because these are the times to remember the power of December. Each day is filled with a glow. There's just some things you should know. It's a transformation across every nation, and every star in the constellation is in all the children's eyes. You can't help but wonder why the love that brings us here, this magical time of year. These are the times to remember the power of December. Take all.
I'm watching the I can't see it. Oh crap. I've got the green screen thing going on. I actually don't have a green screen, that's why it's doing that. I'm watching the Devon Skillion. Hold on, I gotta do something real quick. I gotta block my phone. A lot of people are chiming in. Okay, my mom's I hate when people like rapid fire like 2 or more texts at me at a time. Like, do it in one shot. One big shot. That's all you need to do. Anyway, I didn't really put out much of a message, and I haven't done this in a long time. I've done it only like 3 times in the last 6 months, I think, maybe longer. But I figured I would do it, and let me see. Hold on one second. I don't even know if I'm on. That's how much I don't even know. Let's see. Okay, I guess I am. All right. Anyway, now I don't know. I can't see who's watching. I actually put my name in red letters right here, see? And it was, what color was it before? It was like a rust color because I had it set for a country interview. And I was looking back at the interview from a couple of weeks ago at Manjan Lao restaurant, about 15 miles east of me on the same road, Maple Road here in Michigan, 20 miles north of Detroit. And let me see. I don't know if I can hear myself. 20 miles north of Detroit. Oh, yeah. Okay. There's a little delay. All right, cool. Just making sure. And anyway,
UNDTV disconnected.
What's disconnected? Oh, anyway, that's kind of funny. It's the 12th day of Christmas. Remember that song on the 12th day of Christmas? My true love came to me. I'm just looking down here. Kind of weird. There's a guy my age, and he's been on TV, Channel 4, and he just popped up, and he was at the train station. He's actually at the train station. They're showing it. I don't know if you guys can see it. And it's pretty cool. And his name is Devon Skillion, Channel 4, which is one of the 3 big TV stations. He's always at the parade and all the major events of downtown Detroit. And I guess he's signing off. He's retiring in a couple days. So I thought it was kind of poignant. I juxtapose that with him and I because I've always been a Detroiter. I always liked Detroit. And I know I've been a big fan of the Detroit Lions for a long time, but he has been. He's showing Motown. He's showing all the different really cool stuff. And I'm kind of just putting this out there tonight really quick. I'm not going to be on long. I used to be on here for like 2-3 hours. Can you imagine that? And then I thought that was really a long time. But then I heard Joe Rogan would do it for 5. He did it for 5 years, and he would do it for 3 hours all the time. And he didn't think anything of it. But I don't have that, I was never famous like him. I was never any of those things. So that's kind of cool. But I did pay for this service last year because they offered me a deal on the service that they keep upgrading. And I've been using it for 4 years because of a friend of mine. And it was like $26 a month. And then last year they offered it to me for like $14. And so I figured out, hey, I'll save $12 a month. And, in a year that goes about $120, right? So maybe a little bit more than that. And they renewed it this year. What they charged me, $200 a year, something like that. But I figured, well, I might as well do it. And it is the holiday season. And, it's been kind of a roller coaster ride. I'm here in West Bloomfield with a friend of mine. And, I've been all over the place, staying in different situations just to get my head clear and working on a lot of really cool ideas. And I met with some people for the first time this past couple of weeks. I'm working on ideas for movies, for cable streaming shows, Lifetime, Netflix, Hallmark, the list goes on. Been working on songs that I've crafted for many, many years, working with studio software, Ableton, that some of the top DJs and producers in the world use. I've been using some AIs for some of the background, amazing stuff, quicker and faster than the human factor, which kind of sucks because, I really wanted to use humans for the longest time. But the funny part is I'm designing the music so I can actually have people that perform live, that are talented, young or older, it doesn't matter. If you can sing or you can play, and take the idea of the song and whatever. So that's one of the things. And then the one job that I did as a hobby since I was a teenager was being a disc jockey. And I would do little clubs and pubs, country western bars and bowling alleys and whatnot, whatever I could, backyard parties, dragging heavy crates of records. And some of them would be in wooden crates, and they'd have little nails sticking out, and they would tear. I tore my pants one time and cut my leg. They were tearing up the inside of my car. Then we converted it to plastic for years, like at least 10 years, that I'd have to carry records around and heavy turntables and amplifiers and heavy 100-pound speakers. And, it's crazy now that everything's digital. The DJs, when you make something easier, everybody wants to be a DJ, and I'm not putting any DJs down. I think it's cool that, you can do it. And I didn't think I'd be doing it for a lot of reasons anymore. And this is actually the best season I've had. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One is because I let go of a lot of people that used to represent me. And it wasn't an insult to them. It's just that I had a lot of people that were going a certain speed. You ever get in those 1-lane roads for like miles? Because we have a lot of those roads here, like Long Lake Road and Maple Road, where there's just 1 lane for like 7 or 8 miles. And there's a lot of lights in between, and you get behind somebody and the speed limit's like 35 or 40, and you got people that'll cut in front of you and they'll do 25 miles an hour top speed the whole way, and you're in a hurry. And that happens a lot. And then try these roundabout things. Oh my God, it's a killer. Well, that's kind of how I compared my life to being back home, where a lot of the people that I let in my life were going at a much slower speed and had less motivation to do more. And this applies to anybody out there. You could be 30, 40 pounds overweight and, spend years of your life trying to figure out why you're overweight. And you could try pills and diets and surgery and whatever else. And I mean, I've actually put on a lot of weight for the first time this year, more than ever before, especially around my waist. And, I used to pride myself on a much thinner waist, but it's stress, it's age. So you find that even if you're seasoned at doing something really good, to maintain what a lot of people can't, sometimes time and gravity and other things just find its way into your life. And you instead of conceding to that, which I was sitting there going, should I just let go? Should I just let go? Become 300 pounds. It's right now my focus is on working, doing all these events and parties. They're paying me really well. And they could get guys or girls half my age to do it. But the one thing I bring to the table is experience. And that took away my doubt and my fear for the last couple of years, because as I got older, and a lot of people listen, and hopefully anything I'm saying to anybody out there, because this is that season where people are really depressed. And a lot of people get really lonely or scared. And a lot of people hate the cold weather. It's very depressing. Older people hate it. People in general, when I was a kid, when it got cold, we'd have like 6 feet of snow out there right now. And we'd be going on sleds and toboggans and snowmobiling. And, we would find a way to go to different ski resorts, Alpine, Mount Brighton, Pine Knob, wherever we could go, Mount Holly. And it used to cost us like $10 to go on the slopes all day. I hear it's like $100 now, something ridiculous. I don't even know how people do it. But it was so easy to do in high school. We didn't even have to ask our parents for money. At least I didn't. I could just make the money and, get in my car with friends and we'd have a ball, from 4 o'clock till midnight, and make it in time for school the next day. But we didn't look at the winter as a hindrance kind of thing. And even with today's technology, heated gloves, heated seats. I had a vest on that I could just push a thing and it would heat me up. And we find more ways to complain. And I'm thinking to myself, I have every attribute that could work against me. And, I'm really thankful. I have a lot of people to thank. The people in Nashville, some people in Florida, some people here, restaurants here. Brought to you by Melting Pot, brought to you by Manjan La, brought to you by Powerhouse Gym, Planet Fitness. I mean, the list goes on of people that I'm thankful for, even though I pay for, their service or whatever, because it keeps you going. And if you believe in them and you believe in the product, you're going to support them, right? But you find ways to survive when life, like I'll be honest with you, back in September, October, when I came over here, I wasn't making enough money to keep up, and I was doing all kinds of things. And I never thought, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when I had a lot of money in my bank account and my safe and everything else, and I was doing really well with, well enough that I could even actually be a volunteer firefighter. I didn't get paid, but we were trained just like one. I think when people hear volunteer, they think that we don't train or have the same background as a New York firefighter, Chicago fire. No, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. And, physically and mentally, that you have to, and you can die on the job. I almost drowned in a frozen lake 12 years ago. But I found ways to be married, have my kids, do my businesses, come up with more ideas back then, and donate my time. I was volunteering for charities and things like that this time of year. That's why when I wrote that song, The Power of December, I wrote the lyrics a long time ago. I wasn't sure how I'd complete it. I have a lot of songs like that. It starts off really good and some hooks and choruses. And I would sit there going like, what do I mean by the power? Because people love to argue with me all the time about certain things. And it's not songwriters, it's people that don't write songs. And why'd you come up with that? Or how did you come up with that? And I says, well, it wasn't a religious thing, even though I was born and raised Catholic. And it wasn't a Santa Claus thing. It was everything. It was just somehow, and I noticed even the other day, we were driving down a lot of streets and a lot of Christmas lights weren't up. And it's funny because when I was a kid living in Detroit and then moved out to Bloomfield Hills, a suburb 20 miles away, we had all these big, heavy lights. And they used a lot of power. They'd get hot. The bulbs would break. We had luminaries. I don't know if you know what luminaries are. They put them on the streets. You don't see them anymore, but we had paper bags. They were like lunch bags, paper lunch bags, brown paper bags. And we put candles in them. We'd fill them up with about this much sand, probably about a pounder worth, like play sand, like, you find in a playground or on the beach. And we would fill them with sand and we'd put candles in them. And at night we'd go and light them. And the funny thing about it is you're out there and, it was before they had, where's it at? I don't know if you can see it. These things, we didn't have these. We had regular like matches, those long wooden matches. Remember those? And it was pretty funny because we'd sit there and then it'd sometimes be like blistery cold. I mean, this is nothing. This is nothing. It used to be so cold and windy, and there's ice outside, and you'd walk out in the snow, it would crunch. I don't know if you remember that. You would crunch, and if you didn't have like boots on, and you had like tennis shoes on, the snow would get into your sock, or that the crunchy snow would like chew right into your ankles. It's crazy. Like you get all these cuts. And it was really funny how, back then we didn't have all the cool things they have now that we take for granted. And everything was just different. And now I don't see people like LED lights. They don't use any power, electricity. And you think that there would be a lot more people doing it. But the power of December was basically about how people will go out of their way at midnight to go to church, no matter how cold it is, and wait in the back if they have to, or go fill restaurants, or go wait in parking lots and malls. Costco's like that now. You go to Costco, you can't even get in it. And it's stuff you can get every day anyway. So I told my kids, all three of them, when Dante was alive and I had Sophia, I said, my uncle, one of my favorite uncles who died, one of my dad's brothers, his name was Tony. He was one of my favorite uncles. And he died in his early 40s of diabetes. That killed a lot of my family at a young age. My dad was one of 18. And he just turned 80. And he's only one of like three left. Got two other brothers alive, and that's it. And he was the oldest, so all his other siblings are gone. But the one thing that he said to me, this was many, many years ago, I must have been like 17, 18 years old. And he said to me, he goes, we don't celebrate birthdays and things like that, because he was a Jehovah's Witness. And I didn't get into all that part of it. But what I derived from that, and I don't know who's listening, who's watching me or anything like that, but this is for me anyway. If I die, then one day somebody's going to go, remember that weird guy? So this is cool. And I paid for this anyway. All right. But it was funny. He said something I really liked. I could have maybe wrote a song about it. I said, how come you don't celebrate those things? He goes, I do every day. I go, what? And he goes, every day. He goes, every day with my kids, it's a birthday. It's Christmas. It's everything. He goes, I live that way with all the time. Now, I don't know if that was true or not, but he always usually meant what he said. And I thought, that was cool. So when my kids were around, and if anybody ever came into my house, I didn't just have lights during the holidays. I had lights in my house, even the last house I was in for 7 years, all the time. There was lights outside and there was lights inside that were on 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day, I would have lights, up lights like you see in a nightclub. My buddy would probably charge me $900 because I know that's how many lights I had in the house. And it wasn't because I was afraid of the dark. The dark doesn't scare me at all. In fact, I'm trained to walk through the dark from a long time ago. But I just loved the colors and how I felt as a kid in Detroit in Christmas. My parents had this semi-finished basement in Detroit. Now you're talking a neighborhood south of 7 Mile. And my dad had this like aluminum tree. It was an aluminum tree, and it had this one rotating thing. You're going back decades, many, many decades. And I would hear all the Christmas music and the Motown Christmas music. I saw Santa Claus, Mommy's kissing Santa Claus and all this other stuff. And Feliz Navidad and all that. And you just would stare at these lights on the tree glistening for hours. Never got bored of it. Never got sick of it. In fact, when we took it down, I always hated it. I always wanted to keep it past March. You know what I mean? And everybody give us a hard time about it. And life was. Oh, hey, Grant, how you doing, brother? Yeah, Olivia. And it's funny. I got a picture of me and Olivia. Olivia is in Royal Oak. Grant was my neighbor, and I lit up my house with inflatables, music, and everything. And people would take pictures of it. I still have those pictures. I got to find them somewhere. I might have one on my computer. I might post it later. But it was just funny. And I knew that, my electric bill would go up, or, I'd go to Frank's Nursery or English Gardens or Walmart, anywhere that sold Christmas stuff. And I would just buy it. And I just loved it. Because how stuff goes bad, or, you need extra parts, whatever. I didn't care. I mean, I just love it. And there's people that go farther than I do way further than I do. But it's the way you feel. And I used to have this fantasy, this altruistic notion that we all got along. Didn't matter what color we were, didn't matter what background, didn't matter who we voted for. Didn't matter. It's just that we all like, you know what, like, God, let's put this to rest for a minute, you know? And I loved that feeling. And I would go to all these things, these parties back then. And there was all these big parties my dad would take us to, hundreds of people. And there were people from every walk of life. Just like when you go to a nightclub or you go to the gym. You know, nobody talks about anything negative like they do on here. Isn't that crazy? The coolest, most advanced technology in the world that you can be sitting on the toilet, you know, after a bad day or in your car or anywhere. And you can vent about something. But when you go in front of the people you vent about at the nightclubs, at the malls, at the gyms, wherever, outside of your little worlds, you're fine. You're fine. Because you know what? At the end of the day, and people would hate to admit what I know, is that we live in a country that, yeah, there's parts that you know, if you're a certain color or a certain religion or a certain anything, you can't, you know, make it through the backwoods or something. But for the most part, in the big cities and metropolitans, in almost every single state there is, you're going to find people from every background in life, young and old. And kids, you know, if you just allow them to be what they are, that one innocent part, and you make people, you know, I see Grant. Well, let me just shift real quick because we were newlyweds there. I'll put this on the screen. Hold on. I'm my own producer here. We were newlyweds, love that house, love living next to Jan, love living next to you guys for those few years. You had those Samoyeds, they're big white fluffy dogs, in case you don't know what they are. And they always wandered over to our yard. We didn't love to see them. I know, we were a community, miss you too. You know, and I have to give my neighbors credit because I didn't, my dogs were a very unique breed, and they would come back if no matter what. But they would always, I couldn't contain them. I had special fences for them. I put things where, you know, you could shock collar them, which I hated. They didn't care. They would still keep going. They would find a way off my property. They'd end up over my neighbor's house. And, you know, and I felt bad because, you know, my neighbors are probably going, what the hell's this guy doing? Right? You know, but those are the craziest great dogs. They would be out there right now in this cold weather. They love this cold weather because there's Samoyeds are Arctic dogs. They're like, they call them nomadic dogs, like they're like from Russia, you know, like Siberia kind of dogs. So they extreme cold weather. They love it. To them, that's their Florida. I don't know if you see. I put this thing behind me. I found a Christmas tree. My fingers disappeared. Christmas tree on the beach, and I just thought it was kind of cool because my parents live on a beach. They're actually up here in Michigan, but they have a house on a lake. But they also have a condo down in Sarasota. Well, because of the hurricanes the last couple of years, they've been pummeled. And even the nicest areas, they have an area like Birmingham downtown. It's called St. Armand Circle. And, you know, everything's expensive, and there's shops and all kinds of really cool stuff. Crab and fin, you name it. And, but it's been hit so many times that, you know, it's hard to enjoy it because they're in the process of rebuilding. And it happened right before the winter season. So, you know, they decided to come back and celebrate a couple holidays. They were here for Thanksgiving. And I was hoping my daughter, Sophia, would show up. She didn't. And, you know, I don't expect she will show up Christmas. This will be the second Christmas I won't see her or hear from her. That's my own personal thing. Sorry about that. But, and that's another thing that kind of prevented me. And I said, God, I don't want things to prevent me anymore. And I talked to so many people, you know, here and there, and some I haven't talked to in a year or two, that used to follow me or, you know, whatever. A lot of people, you know, for whatever reason, disappeared, even unfriended me. I get it. You know, it's after a while you get kind of, it's like watching a TV show. You get kind of sick of it. It runs its course. I get it. But, you know, I look back at some of the things I was saying And even last night, and this has happened quite a bit, especially during these parties, I see people expecting children, pregnant women. I see people at the stores when I go to Kroger or Meijer or Walmart or what have you. And I see these, and every parent, you can see, because I know the tricks. If you're a parent, you know this. If you don't have any children, you don't know. But it's like showing off your car for the first time, your brand new car. You want everybody to notice you in your car. You want everybody to know you got a cool stereo, you turn it up loud. That's what we used to do. When you're a parent, you want everybody to notice how perfect your child is, even if nobody thinks they are. You do, and you're like, you want everybody to see everything about them. And I see that all the time when I go somewhere. And then last night when I went to after this party that me and my buddy Ross, we went and set up a couple parties in Canton for all these children. And we put these Santa Claus chairs, and I'm taping down this 40-foot rug at these two different places. And it got colder as the night went on. And we ended up going to this place not too far from where I'm staying. And they've got axe throwing and all this other stuff, right? Well, it was a holiday party, and the guys were a lot younger than me. And they're, they're drinking. And the snow's coming down like crazy outside. They had 80-something accidents last night. Over 80 accidents, almost 90 in the surrounding area. And according to the news. But these guys didn't care. They're drinking and they're dancing on the bar, and it's a really nice place. And it's like a circus in there. Well, the DJ's a young kid, and when I say kid, he was about a year younger than Dante, 21. His name's John, and really nice kid. I met him a few times, and I worked with him last week, and that would have killed me a year or two ago. I wouldn't have been able to see other people with their kids. It was too hard, and I dealt with it thousands of times on here, of course, every day. And I just kind of go, But then, you know what? Something changed me when I went to Nashville. And I'll tell you what it was. It's hard to explain, but I'll explain it anyway. And this goes for anybody who's had kids and lost them, or has kids that doesn't want to think about it, or people that don't. You're not the only one who has psoriasis or dandruff or migraine headaches or hot flashes or bad knees or bad hips, or there's so many people going through whatever you're going through. That includes me, and I've known that, but there's a part of me that just kept funneling myself back into me, and I'm not typically like that. I'm really not. I may come off that way sometimes, but I was coming off that way. And I would always have to bring up my son. I won't even explain when I wear this all the time unless somebody asks me, hey, that's my son's name. Oh, whatever. Okay, I don't get into it. But before I would get in, I would engage. I would allow myself to have a conversation, just like a parent boasting or bragging about their kid. Yeah, man, plays the Tooth and the Grinch musical, at the school. And but I was doing it in reverse. I was kind of like, yeah, blah blah blah. And instead I go, you know what, you can't blanket people with your problem. You can't let them feel what you're feeling and then scare them away. You want them to enjoy their life. You want them not to have to go through psoriasis or a headache or a menstrual cycle or some kind of crazy something that, what I mean? I mean, we're going to go through those things, but when it comes to the process of pain, no matter how long or short it is, you want people to get through it. Like the 12th day of Christmas, and you want people to, especially people that have what you used to have, you don't want them to feel less about what they have. You want them to feel appreciative, grateful, not fearful. I was a firefighter for free. I did things like that. I wish I'd still be doing it. I would still be doing it if they let me. Even at my age, I'd kick ass. I mean, I'd move a little slower probably, but I would, if it meant my life drowning in a frozen lake or dying in a fire, I would do it. Wouldn't think twice of it. And it's not because I have a death wish, it's nothing like that. It's just I don't have a fear of it. It's like, oh wow, okay, if I'm not here tomorrow, then I'm not here tomorrow. I know a lot of people don't have that, but I've met people that do. It's a unique thing, just like a songwriter. When you're around songwriters, that's all they think about. They think they're the only one that came up with the idea for that song. And then, I thought it's weird because you're like, wow, I thought I was the only one like that. And that's the funny part. And um I know that, I really, I don't even know how I did more than one or two of these in the last 5 years when I did it all the time. But it was because there was so many people that were reaching out, especially when COVID happened. And it was a cold time of the year when it started. And we didn't know what was going to happen for how long, right? Isn't that weird? It's like being locked in I don't know if you've ever been locked in a trunk or in a closet where you feel claustrophobic. It's almost like being buried alive. Like you don't know how long this is going to last, and it's scary, and you don't know, and the fear overtakes you. Well, that was like my pain, but it was also at the same time about people. Is this COVID thing going to kill us, or is it not? We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. Then all of a sudden, everybody became, scared or an expert or this or that, and then that's what happens. People, when you trap a lot of people in the same room with food and water, doesn't matter, even a bathroom, after a while everyone goes nuts and everybody reacts differently. Some people will group together and then it becomes this big thing, right? Well, now 5 years later, did the pain go away from me? No. Did the reality of my son gone? No. But that's my thing. I think more right now about Sophia because she's still here. But again, got to keep that separate. Got to keep it separate. And I'm getting better at it because when I go to do these events, these parties, it's always different people. Imagine that, going to work and it's always a few hundred new people every day. You don't even know who they are. They don't know who you, and you've got to entertain them. You got to make them feel happy and festive, and you've got to do everything perfect. If this music stops for 1 second, everyone's like, oh, like it's crazy, right? So you've got to do the best you can. And it allowed me to keep working on other ideas, things I'd never thought of before, things I've never tried before. And I've done more things in the last 3 or 4 months than I've done in the last 4 or 5 years. And if that helps anybody, it's it's been with very little money. It's been physically taxing on me in the morning, at night. Last night I was outside, we were moving and carrying things, and I'm on my hands and knees, and we're going from one place to another, and it went from 30 degrees to 10 degrees, and we're driving home in the snow, and we decided to go to some other place. The obstacles don't go away just because you get older or because you become used to it. They don't. And some people have it lucky. I had it lucky. There was a lot of things I did that came easy to me because of the things I did that were hard. Like I couldn't get a date in high school. Next thing you know, I could get 10 phone numbers in a week. And there was still that one girl that wouldn't look at me that I wanted to talk to. And luckily I never did anything cheesy. I didn't try to impress her with, money or try to, my ex-wife, that, trust me, that didn't work out right. But I like being simple. But I like taking simple things. And I know this isn't a lot of people out there, but there's a lot of people I know that don't have that much. They can't afford Christmas lights. They can't afford to go to a Lions game. They can't afford to park at a Lions game. And there's some people, so it's weird when you have all these different people. So when I came on here, I didn't know how to hack. Okay, who'd you vote for? You don't pray to anybody? Oh, you pray to all the time? You do this? You eat all the time? You don't eat? You don't. It was. I was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm like, okay, I'm not Dr. Oz, Phil, Seuss. Pick somebody. Feel good. I was nobody. And yet I felt like I did more than I ever did as a firefighter. more than I ever did as a DJ. The only thing that I felt that I really enjoyed the most was being a dad. Sorry, that's my ice machine. If you hear that, I got an ice machine in here. In fact, hold on a second. But I have people that I've met, Mr. Positive from Detroit radio, and he's always on the radio with different personalities and things like that. I met, I'm still friends with people I thought were going to be, that left me, like Tina and Phil or Vicky or Tom and all these people that used to see me all the time, Pam and all that. And then, but yeah, they still come on. Then I got a buddy of mine, Leslie. He posts where he eats 6 times a day. He calls me every single day. It's weird. You can't predict the story of life. And, I take these things and I put them into an AI and I go, okay, I got these people and I got this and I got this and I got this. How do I make it into a story? And a story that will inspire or motivate somebody. Yeah, maybe make me a little bit of money because I want to survive, right? Because I can't do these things if I don't. But it's funny because if you've learned anything about me, whether you decided to unfollow me or snooze me, and I would have, I kept telling people to do that, unfollow me, whatever. But there's so many times, even before I was ever on social media, before I ever took all those pictures like I did, oh my God, if I had the pictures like from Florida and all the other places and things I've done, it would outrank all the stuff I've ever posted. I mean, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Because I wasn't always like that. But if you learned anything, and I hope this applies to somebody somebody that might have got, a bad diagnosis today or this past week or year, regardless of how big or small their house is or apartment, or how much money they've made or how popular they are or used to be. Somebody's, had some bad news given to them at one point since I've been on here, that thought they would never, ever, because that's what they tell me all the time. They go, man, I never thought that would happen. I never thought she would leave me or he would cheat on me, or I eat healthy all the time. What do you mean I got stage 3 or 4, metastasize, and I'm learning all these words, I'm like, what? And I have to stop what I'm doing, thinking about my son, my daughter, my bills, everything. And I got to listen to somebody who's had an amazing life. You have all that money, yet you might have MS. I'm not kidding. I know about 4 or 5 people that have MS, multiple sclerosis. And it's a slow motion process and all this treatment and all this money and all this. I mean, it's crazy. And I think to myself, I don't have any of these things. I don't have anything physical. I mean, my teeth, I lost my retainer. I need to get, braces again and, little things like that. And like I said, I'm putting on a little bit of weight I shouldn't put on. But we all have our thing, and it's our job. If I did anything, is to go, look, this guy used to be a nerd, and then he went to this, and then he became cool, and then he had a family, and then he didn't have a family, and this happened, and this happened. Man, he's just one example. I'm just one tiny example of somebody out there. I mean, people, even these guys that have kids, they're the one guy whose father that I posted, he looked at me and he goes, oh, you wait till you get my age. And this was the second time I've heard this in like 2 days. And I said, how old are you? My buddy's laughing, Ross. He goes, how old do you think he is? He goes, you're not going to believe it. And I go, how old are you? And he goes, like he's a lot older than me. He goes, 51. And my buddy starts laughing, Ross. And he goes, he's 62. He starts, and he goes, well, that's because he has all that hair. Like, whatever, but you know what? He's a good guy. Doesn't matter about the hair. It doesn't matter, whatever. And he's got a son, and to watch him would have, like I said, it would have made me jealous or angry or something, even 2 years ago. And now I'm like, I hope to God, in the power of December, if there's any magic, if there's a hint of magic out there, just look over people. I don't, I'm the one thing that probably makes people the most uncomfortable. And I'm really good at not being in public. I've never done it in public when I worked. Thank God. Especially at these parties, because they hire me back. I've been hired back 3-4 times. I'm not kidding. Since my son passed. And they all know. They knew from day one. I thought, oh, hell, they're never going to hire me back. Would you want me at your party? I don't get invited to parties from any of the friends or family I've had for the last couple of years. This is the first year nobody's invited me. The only person that invited me was my cousin Eric. He's not on Facebook. And he let me stay there for 3 months, just to be with him. In fact, he called me the other day. He goes, man, I fucking miss you. I go, I miss you too, dude. And his house caught on fire, a month ago. And even there, I'm not going to get into all, but there's people going in that perfect paradise. There's people going through all kinds of problems. And some of them were calling me every day, secretly. But if my job is to try to entertain people and get, people, I got a lot of really cool people with money that are connected that are going to start coming out of the woodwork to help make some of these ideas come true. And I want to be way back in the back. I want to be where you can't see me. You don't know who I am. But while we're here on the clock, you're on the clock, you're on the clock, you're on the clock. That means I don't care if you're 20 years old, 40 years old, 72 years old. I don't care if you've got 9 bank accounts and a Black American Express card. You're on the clock. People were driving home, and somebody told me, a friend of mine told me in Cleveland, yeah, this neighbor up the street was coming down. Another car hit it, slid on the ice. 200 miles from here. There was people flipping all over, there's people getting killed on the road I was in, yesterday. It doesn't discriminate. That's not being morbid. It's not being negative. My goal, maybe this is the best way to explain my headspace for you. And I hope that somebody gets this. I don't care how smart you are, how opinionated you are, how anything you are. When I say you're on the clock, imagine having to pee really bad and get home and get the fridge, get your clothes in the washing machine and do all these chores and errands and thinking, man, everyone's in my way. I got to get home. I got to get all this stuff happen. And you got this really nice car, the heated seats, everything's great. And all of a sudden, bam. I've seen it. I was a firefighter. I've seen it before that. And nobody thinks that today's the day. Nobody. You always think, well, maybe they were too poor. Maybe they were or maybe they didn't pray, or maybe they didn't do something right. No, it's not how it works. I know it's not how it works. I know the secret. I've seen it. I've lived it. And I know a lot of people who have. So it's not living in fear or pain or grief or mourning like I do. That's my cancer. That's my cancer. That's my terminal disease, right? But the other part of it, once it's there, but I move it over here. I go to the gym. I do things. I work on my computers. I'm writing songs. I'm calling people. I'm texting people. I'm doing stuff. You got to make the most of today, whether you have children or not, whether you have parents or not, whether you, life has just been shitty. It fired you. Your pipes burst. Look at people on Harsland's Island. I just saw the pipes burst. I've worked on that island a million times. You think you're impervious, you're perfect paradise. My parents lived in the nicest part of one of the best places in Florida. Now it looks like a tsunami hit it. You know what I mean? But the rest of the world around you that doesn't have a bursted pipe or lose electricity for a couple days. Remember how that happened or happens? You may not have a generator or a Generac. You may not have somebody that, can help you or help your mother or your grandfather get to that place or feed them or check on them because you're too busy with your life and you don't have enough time or money, right? So you got to do the effing best you can. That's the power of December. But like my uncle told me once, rest in peace, right, buddy? Is that you got to turn Christmas into every day. Turn every day, make every day a holiday. Make every day livable. Make every day appreciative. Make every day grateful. Does that make sense? It's like, a day at the beach or, presents under a tree, whatever, however you want to look at it. but you got to live your life. And people aren't going to like you for everything you say or do. You reveal things to them about what you might do, or what church you go to, or who you're dating, or you can say or do one thing and you're going to lose people just like that. Right? Okay. And then you hate them, you resent them, F them. I've done that a lot. No, not doing that no more. Not really. Because I'm like, you know what? They just didn't get it, or they're not bad people. I just didn't hit the right note. And that goes for a lot of people out there, because I know a lot of people are struggling with it. And the only thing, and I've said this 1,000 times, I go, no matter what you may think of me, because I'm not on a soapbox, I don't have all the answers, but somehow words happened to fill my mouth when I was talking, and I was the only one doing this that I knew of that wasn't trying to make a dime. I'm not trying to sell anything to you. I'm not trying to improve my business, any of them. And I need to. It's because there's some force that said, you know what? Just like a nurse, just like a doctor, just like a soldier or police officer, somebody. There's people out there, better, stronger, faster than me, everything, that have it inside of them that they want to help people, whether they get paid or not. And I was forced into that job, into that role. I was. And I don't know if I was good at it, but I have never had somebody call me and tell me 5 years later. This is the 5th anniversary of my Christmas where I don't have 2 of my children with me. Yet I've had people tell me that I helped them from doing something bad, or getting better, or trying harder. What's that worth? And the only reason I asked that question, because that was in my head when I was in that hospital for 4 days with my son. I said, I could have Elon Musk money, and they're not going to save my son. No amount of praying, no amount of anything. There was no power of anything. So when I'm here, when I'm trying to do what I do, it doesn't matter what you celebrate. It doesn't matter if you put Christmas lights on or not. It doesn't matter if you have 50 people at your house and all the best desserts, or you're sitting by yourself watching Netflix with a TV tray and some popcorn. Look out your window and know that somewhere out there's people living, in this cold weather, without food, without anybody, without anything. And maybe that doesn't matter to you, but this was what should matter, is that at least it isn't you. And if you can help somebody out there, I mean, if they gave me $100 million today, I'd be smart about it. I'd pay off all my bills, but I would help the people that helped me, number one. I'd help people that really needed it. I'd invest in some really cool things, but I would make sure that the right people, not all the people in my life, but the right people, past and present, got that. And hopefully that they do something with their life to make others' lives better. Because when we're gone from here 100 years from now, and most of us will be, if not all, they're not going to remember us for what we had. They're just not. They're not going to remember you. They're not going to remember you. They're not going to remember you. They're not going to remember you over there. They're not going to remember what you had. They're going to remember what you did. And keeping somebody alive may produce more people that are going to go, wow, something, you don't know the story, mom or grandma or grandpa, but there's somebody that came into their life. There's a million stories like that. And that's the story you want to be part of. That's the story you want written about you. And that's the part you should keep writing while you're here. And that's all I got. Because that's why I write my songs. At least when I die, if I died today, they make, yeah, he was a firefighter. Yeah, he was a DJ. Yeah, he did these things. But they can always come on here or YouTube and see my stuff. And yeah, somebody could filter and edit and take out the stupid stuff, which is probably more than half. But I think about the people that I helped on here. Even if 100 of them decided to leave. Doesn't matter. Because you know what? All the times I used to help people on the side of the road, all different sizes, shapes, color, weather, I didn't keep any of their phone numbers. I can see them in my head, but I couldn't tell you their names, not one. And they never, only one time did that happen. And the guy gave me free cable for like 10 years. He really did, dude. And my brother, because we helped him out. I told that story a couple of years ago. And I'll tell you real quick. It was a cold day. I was living in Warren. God, what year was that? About 30 years ago. And give or take. And I was off, there was Louis Pizza. It was just north of us. That's a famous place. They got Louis Pizza. He's the one he started Buddies and Shields, if you know the pizza place. Anyway, it's a famous place. And there was this black gentleman in this old, big beat up car. Big, I don't know, Impala or something. And he was on the side of the road and there was puddles of water and it was really cold out and it was dark. And I could just see him right in front of his car. He didn't know what to do. And I could just see he needed help. And his hood was up. And my brother, Mike, was with me. My brother was probably 17. And he looks at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm turning around." And I always carried a gas can, jumper cables, blankets, flares, remember those flares? I had everything. And I wasn't afraid. I was a pretty good sized guy. And I always had something in my car. But anyway, we turned around and he looks at me and I look at him and I go, "Hey, you need help?" And he looks down, he looks up, and he was an older gentleman, probably I'd say in his 50s at the time. I was in my 20s. And he looks at me and he goes, late 20s, I was like 27, I think. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I was praying and nobody would stop. I've been out here, like, how long you been out here? He goes, over an hour and a half. He goes, and I don't know what to do. And he didn't have AAA, we didn't have cell phones, nothing like that. And he says, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "I don't know. My battery's dead, because I've been trying to start it." He goes, "I think I ran out of gas," and like everything, right? And I says, "Well," I says, "Hold on." And he says, "Here, come on and get in my car." And my brother got in the back, and he goes, "Are you sure?" I goes, "Don't worry, we're not going to hurt you." I said that to him, and he looks at me, and goes, and so he gets in the car, and I go, "Well," and I said, I go, "Do you want me to look at your car?" I go, "So, are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I know I'm out of gas." And so I go, "Well, I got a gas can." I go, "Come on." So we turned around, we went up to 9 Mile, and there was a gas station right there. I used to go there all the time, mobile. And so I went, and, I got gas, and he goes, I don't have any money on me. I said, "Don't worry about it." Don't worry about it. So I was like $5 in. So then I went, we took it back, and then I told my brother to get out. We hooked up the jumper cables. Long story short, we jumped his car. I was putting gas in. We got it started. And he goes, "I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say." And he goes, "I've been praying." And sometimes it happens. I'm sorry. I don't know. Anyway, I'm stupid like this. I'm sorry. Anyway, he looks at me and I had about $100 on me, and give or take. And I handed him a $20 bill. And he goes, "No, I can't take it. I can't take it." I says, "Listen." He goes, "Go put half of it in your tank," because it was like $1 a gallon back then. And I says, "And get home, you know." And I said, "Just buy yourself something to eat, because they got good sandwiches up there." And he goes, "Are you sure?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm sure. Just go." And he goes, "I got to give you my card." And he goes, and I go, "What's your card?" He goes, "Well, I work for," I shouldn't say it, Comcast, or what. And he goes, "I promise I'll take care of you." I said, "No, you don't owe us nothing." Me and my Mike's even go, "No, we're good." Well, a couple days later, we were talking about it, and we called him up and we say, "Hey, are you okay? Did you get home all right?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." And, "Oh my God, I told my wife, I told everybody." He goes, "We prayed, for you guys and everything." He goes, "Listen, I can hook you guys up if you want." He goes, and he did. He came out and he climbed up a pole and he hooked us up. Basic cable, not the movie channels or anything like that. But that was great. I didn't care. And and it was great. And but he'd come by and he'd eat with us sometimes, and whatever. I always had something for him to eat. He was just a really cool guy, you know, and I haven't seen him in 20 years. I don't even know where he's at. But, you know, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes life is kind of funny that way. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry I get emotional. Because sometimes I saw the pain in his eyes. Like he knew everybody was scared of him because he was a black guy. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but, you know, because everyone kept asking me, because you picked up a black guy? You know, like, what the fuck's wrong with people, right? You know? And I go, I didn't care, you know. I don't care what color you are, you know. If you're down and out, you know, I'm going to help you. You know what I mean? I'm just stupid that way, and I don't care, you know. So that's what you do. You either do or you don't. And like I said, I only got a handful of people probably watching it, but then, you know, I always will see people popping in for a minute. If you get a minute of it, you know, don't feel alone. Don't take it out on the world. Just be lucky that you get home and that today you made it through the day. And take tomorrow, and don't take it for granted just because it's a holiday, just because it's a Friday, just because it's whatever. Life doesn't owe you anything. The supreme being doesn't owe you anything either. It's just the way it works. But we get lucky and maneuver and navigate for 10, 20, 100 plus years. We're lucky, but it's what you do with what you have. And the magnifying glass is the power of December. And that's the story. I wish you love. I wish you companionship, babies if you want them. You keep your job. You're able to afford a few gifts. You have a nice meal, and you're able to give back. And whatever pains or diseases are ailing you, I wish I could just suck them out of you and make them disappear. I swear to God. I mean that. I wish I could do that. But I can only do this. So be the best you can, even if it's just a little bit. You know what I mean? Even if you spent the last 10 years trying to lose 100 pounds or 20 pounds and you've only lost 2. I'm thinking, you got to think to yourself, what would happen if you didn't try, right? That's what I do. And I go, God, could you imagine if I didn't work out? You know, or I didn't take vitamins? I probably wouldn't have all this hair. I got to show you something. This is nothing, but this is, oh, can you see it? I mean, I got a big bag full of, this big tool bag, full of vitamins and supplements, my bathroom, I mean, that's nothing. If I wasn't so broke this whole summer, I would have probably had a lot more. I don't know why. It's a bad habit. I take everything. Can you see it? No, yeah. This is good stuff. Sorry about it. You wouldn't want to see if I turn the green screen off, because you would just see a bed and a bunch of stuff over on it. So anyway, I wish I was like Devin Skilling, where millions of people, you know, tuned in to see me retire, but I've got a handful of people. And I always know that too. I always know that there's going to be a small handful of people that, you know, tuned in, and hopefully 1 or 2 of you will say nice things after I die. You say, remember that guy? And if not, no big deal. All right, I'm done. What time is it? It's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. We were on TV. They used to go, do you know where your kids are? So it's 11 o'clock. Let's see. In exactly 17, 18 days or so, it's going to be 2025. 2025. Don't make any resolutions. Make them now. Just make them now. Just be baby steps. Just like when they told me to, you know, to deal with the pain of my life, baby steps. It's all you can do. But little by little, you get there. Little by little, little by little. You know what I mean? All right. That is it. That's all I got. More things to come, I promise you. And for all the people that don't believe in me or didn't believe in me, that's okay. That's what pushes me. That's what pushes me harder, because I got nothing to lose. And you know what? I'm actually feeling good. And even the people in Nashville call me all the time. Big Mike, Chad, Bobby, you know, the list goes on. And I'm lucky. I'm a lucky person. I don't even want to be lucky. I don't even want to be lucky, because I have a lot of bad days. Every day's got its thing. But I got to stop that, man. I got to look at stuff and go, man, keep going until you do stop. All right. So take care of your parents, take care of your kids, take care of your friends. But number one, with or without that, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. And it's a hard thing to do unless you're, you know, if you got a big ego, then it doesn't hurt, right? But find a way to really enjoy your life in this little time you have, and treat it like, you know, treat it like gold. All right, so I'm gonna let you go, but I want you guys to have a great night. Thank you very much, and I guess that's it. All right, have a great night. Times 10. Oh, by the way, happy Xmas. Right, Christine? All right. You guys be good. Be safe.
Take all the feeling in. Yeah. This is where hope begins. It's both a birthday and a celebration. Unforgettable family entwines. Because it's Christmas time, a time to share and be kind to man. That's baby Jesus' plan. This is what it's all about. The angels will sing and shout. A time comes once a year. Festive feelings overtake you and bring you closer to those you hold dear. These are the times to remember the power of December. These are the times to give and also the times to get. These are the memories you should never forget. Go spread some joy so you'll never regret these times. You'll remember forever the power of December. The power of December.